Previously on Still Married, Mother, Wife, Career Woman.
So we know you can't compare because it's just automatically gonna be. No, y'all can call Samuel Caesar Senior right now. He will tell y'all that wedding night. I said, "Oh, man of God, come on closer." And as soon as I said that, it was in a conversation that we had before we got married. And so when I said that, you can tell like he got comfortable and then we were able to take off the way we should. But the whole, if you're a bird, you can't compare. There's nothing for you to compare it to. You can't relate. No. Have that conversation because there's gonna be a disconnect.
Ruth kind of touched based on it a little bit earlier. But what is your love language, and does your husband speak your language?
All of them is my love language. I need them all. Hard to really say just one, but it varies in different times. I do like the attention. I like when my husband compliment me and be like, "Babe, you look good." I work in a mental health field. Like, I work with kids that have so much trauma. And a lot of times you carry that trauma with you even when you don't want to. And I think my husband knows whichever days and he knows which one of my love language to utilize. So he's grab attention. So that's why I said all of them.
Shout out to Shadow.
It's hard to just pick one. So.
Happy birthday, Shadow.
I feel like that he kind of knows, but we literally talked about it, went and did the quiz. He was doing quality of time, but acts of service was something that's my number one. So now he's being more intentional that he needs to do a little bit more acts of service. And when you do acts of service for me, you already know what's going to happen.
Automatically.
Right. So what I've noticed, what we discussed too after we did the quiz, is just that his love language, my love language was on the opposite scale. And this is what we discussed. He's like, as for him, quality of time and acts of service is not his thing. So it's something very hard for him. So it's something that he has to really constantly work on. Because for him, that's not him. His acts of service is gifts and physical touching. That's something I'm not. That's on my opposite side of it. So that's now I have to be really intentional about gifts and physical touch because that is his love language.
For me, I think we're still in that period where we're adjusting to each other's love languages. And I think it changes with the kids, to be honest. I'm not saying our love language changes with the kids, but just prioritizing our love languages. Yeah. Okay. And like Kitsia said, I think we have different love languages. For me, it's physical touch all day. Okay, touch me. All right. And it's also words of affirmation. But you know what? I may be like Becky because I like gifts. I love gifts. You know what? I'm starting to think I might be all of that. You know, okay, I want all. Like Meggie says, it depends on the situation and what it calls for.
I think naturally we want them all, right? Yeah. But when you take the assessment, it kind of tells you, okay, what your top is based on the questions you ask, blah, 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 right? So the person that I am 15 years later is not the person I was on year 1, 2, 3, right? So when we first got married, I needed you to affirm me. Like, words of affirmation was like, when I took that test, it knocked everything out. Like, I didn't know that about myself either. But when we took the test, he became more aware of it. He struggled with doing that because that wasn't something that he did. We had to constantly remind you do you think I'm cute right now?
Let me know.
We went outside and mad people told me that I'm cute.
Right, but you didn't tell me I'm cute. And you're the only one I want to hear it from anyway. You know what?
That's what you say matters more than what anyone else says. But now I don't really need that anymore. Now my love language is more of just physical touch. I just need you to touch me, and it doesn't have to always be sexual. No, I don't want to feel like I'm just a piece of meat.
Right.
I do.
I'm with Ruth on that. I do want to feel like a piece of meat because I am a piece of meat. However, I know what you mean.
Moments where you do want to feel like me. If we're sitting on the couch together, I want to feel.
I want you to be right?
Yeah.
You touch my leg. I want to feel.
Yeah, I want to feel.
And I feel like that leads to more
and that's
That's
me more. That's just like a booty hug.
Give me a booty hug.
Right.
Not all the time though.
He's right though. Pat me on my butt.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But when they do that all the time though.
No.
It's annoying. It's okay.
Come and hug me from behind.
Right.
They know what I mean.
If I'm washing the dishes, come to me from behind. Don't cook with me.
Yes.
If you really want it the right way, like that's what you need to do.
Yeah,
Like,
you do that.
Let's
you ain't gotta say nothing else. Just let's go pray.
I really
Lock that
like
door.
prayer. I really like prayer.
I really do.
It's the key that I love.
Prayer is the
I think it varies.
Yes.
Like you shared, like 15 years ago and now is two different persons. I definitely was very into words of affirmation and gifts. That was my thing. And my husband was very into gifts and words of affirmation as well. So even though we were both on one side of the spectrum, it was still difficult to do it for each other because it's not something that we were accustomed to. Like we're not accustomed to hearing, oh, you're just great just because. Like I just love what you're wearing and like here's flowers just because it's not Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? Like, so that was a little off for us. So that took some practicing, like doing consistently. Now for me, I think it's physical touch. Well, you can tell.
Well, I think we all know at this point.
Me, okay? And my husband still loves a gift. And if I don't buy it, he gonna buy it himself. Like I will see these Amazon boxes like nobody's business. And I can't even be upset at that. Like it's like, well, if you don't see that I want it, I'm gonna figure it out by myself. So still learning to be aware in that capacity for him. Like let me pick this up for him just because. But I'm gonna need you to touch me. Just smack my booty. I'm not saying we be smacking. I want to make it clear. Steve be smacking.
He definitely gonna smack now.
I think that's how my husband got me. Definitely.
He was smacking that booty?
No.
Yeah, how did he get you? Like, you gotta start off another way. Like,
Yeah, she said one of my love languages is acts of service. At the beginning, he used to do these little things. You know, very meaningful, very simple. Also quality time because at the beginning of our marriage, that's what I feel like was connecting us. Like when we used to cook together, oh my goodness, quality time, bon bagay. Just being lazy, being bums at home. Watching a movie,
enjoying each other,
Those to me, those are his words of affirmation. I could do better because for me to affirm my husband, I'm like, but you don't, like sometimes it's like I need you to, say garçon, I need you to, stand up for yourself.
To affirm.
Give me that, like like don't let yourself go, like like.
I had an idea, a different way could be affirming, maybe not clothes, but just affirming things that he does.
Yeah.
Like you're a great father. I was just watching you guys and. Sometimes you think affirmations and you're thinking just physical.
Yeah.
It's not.
Not at all.
Yeah, I know. I thought that.
Yeah, for my husband, his affirmation is not physical. It's more like he wants to be like to
acknowledge.
To know that what he's doing good. So a lot of time I'll shoot him a text like, babe, I didn't get to know this morning like how much I'm proud of you. Thank you for going to work, for providing.
Yes.
Like I sometimes be like, thank you for praying over me. Like it just be the simple thing. Some days, like I just don't have it in me to pray, and I would wake up and I just feel all this energy. He would just go pouring out of nowhere, and I let him know like I love that. I just want to let you know that I appreciate the things you do, even if buy me simple flour. I let him know.
Seriously.
I think that's every man.
Yeah.
Like, when you affirm them,
yes,
you build them up.
And they
like,
need it.
They will work so hard. Like I was telling my husband, I said, I want to make sure when you come home, you feel safe at home because this world around here does not make you feel safe. Yeah. So if you can't feel safe in our house, then it
Where
doesn't.
can you feel safe?
Like it's really pointless. Right. So I always try my best to make sure, like when he goes home, like he wants to be home.
Do you guys get tired of your husband sometimes?
Absolutely.
I think everyone does.
How do you okay, I need my space. How do you communicate that?
Self-care thing. So I feel like your cup has to be filled and you play different roles, mother, wife, career climber, whatever, friend, auntie. We got a whole bunch of roles we gotta cover. So you need to literally try to balance, which that is hard because I'm still trying to balance it out and I'm like how many years in. So you literally need to find something that sustain you. I mean, but for me, taking like a nice hot shower and putting some music in the shower so I could sing and that's like one of my things I do in the morning.
But see, here's my thing. That sounds wonderful, but I be still mad after the shower. I be still mad after the spa. I'm still mad after whatever. So
no, and you're right. And you're right.
So now what I've honestly been doing recently in the whole being self-aware is figuring out why does your voice annoy me so much after I just came and spent $300.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I don't want to take a hot shower.
I'm clean. I'm clean. I don't need to shower no more. And even with my cup being full,
yes,
you still pissing me off.
Oh, really? Because I was gonna say self-care. Because self-care is superficial.
Right. It doesn't address the issue.
It doesn't address the issue.
Yeah. That's
so
when
if
we have
you're
a
journaling,
conversation.
you need to be a journaling. Okay, I got mad at this time. It's really about self-reflection and reflection on your marriage. To be honest, I need a break, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will do that. I'd be like, you know what, this is too much. I need a break. And I would be like, you know, I really want to have this conversation, but you know,
Right.
Today,
I
not
just
right.
In terms of like, okay, I just need a break from here and you and you and you
Right.
and you.
that's more self-care.
Yeah, and like, and you're not saying it in that way. Like,
Yeah.
I need to get away from y'all. Like,
No,
you're not
no.
doing
Right.
that. You're like, okay, mommy's gonna go get her, you know, her eyebrows done, do my pedicure, do my what, and you just go.
That's
and
right.
You stay out as long as you need to until
correct.
you feel like you're ready to
Come
go
back
in
in.
and you washing the
No,
dishes,
ma'am.
right? And you're just like, man, I do the dishes the most in this house.
Oh yeah.
This is why marriages don't grow. This is why
I'm fool. Like, what are you saying? You don't hear me saying I cook the most in this house.
Exactly.
I clean the most in this house.
But wait,
I
let me
said-
tell you what happened. So there was a pot in the sink. I usually make breakfast and pack it up for 3 days. So there was a pot in the sink. I'm looking at the pot because the least you're gonna do is you're gonna wash the pot. Day 1, go buy no pot wash. Day 2, go buy no pot wash.
I've done that.
You looking, I'm looking. We're gonna look together. Day 3 come by. Babe, we got breakfast. I said, the pot's in the sink.
The ones I
I
said.
said, oh, so that means there's no food.
Yeah.
Man of God, you got a pot? You got a pot? That pot was washed immediately. Right after it was washed, yo, babe, I just need to take a nap. It was one pot! It was one pot!
Take that back though. I'm saying, it could be like you're home with the kids. It's a breeze. You cook dinner, you clean, you got them together. They had activities. They stay home with the kids. You come home, the house is still a mess. And they be like, oh, I'm so tired. I had to deal with the kids today. I have to deal with the kids every day. And cook and clean and go to the building.
We are built different. I feel like when it comes, it's a society issue. Because women, like you grow up, you are raised 100 million things. What I've witnessed, it's like garçon, what they ought to do, lever, travail, tourner la caillou, manger, and then dormir.
Well, that's what
That's
what
a
we grew up.
sequence. Yeah, that's what I've
that's
seen.
what they need to
But
have.
women,
we
can you
also-
get up? Can you get up and just go about your business and come
No,
back?
but
you?
that
Yes.
Will you?
No.
Because
Okay.
you feel like
Let's
it's
be
a
real.
responsibility.
And if
We're
you
not doing
can't
that.
do it, you're gonna give me the money to be able to do it.
That's
Before I came
right.
here,
Go.
I dropped off the laundry because the man of God left the money because he know I'm not doing it because he not gonna do it. Give me the laundry money. Dropped off
Those
the
things
dry
outsource.
cleaning because if you're not gonna do it because you tired, I'm tired too because I'm not just sitting here
You
doing
work,
twiddling
I
my
work.
thumbs. If it's going to be an issue before it becomes a damper in our marriage, how we gonna budget this? Because I'm not doing it.
That's
I'm
right.
just not gonna. Now we can't wash no dishes every night. We gonna cook in the aluminum pans. Somebody go to Dollar Tree. This is it for
those
no,
are great.
go to Dollar.
I agree.
Some paper
Absolutely.
plates.
Go get the paper plates, because some days we're gonna eat like fine cuisine. Some
That's
days
right.
you go get that plate and you gonna throw it in the garbage.
Yes,
'Cause I'm not-
I agree.
I was just going crazy in my house. Like,
Oh my
I'm doing
gosh.
everything. And I got 2 kids who are of age. I got a whole husband. You know,
whole
so we
husband.
created a chore chart.
There we go.
Okay? Everyone is doing a
Something.
chore a day. That includes you, Bailey. Like, everybody. Bailey's too. She's too. Everybody, everybody's doing something because, like, I work just like you.
Correct.
Same hours, if not longer. We
Get
can't
the
feel
help.
guilty about it anymore.
Nope,
like,
I'm
your
still learning
mental
that.
health matters.
Get you a cleaning service, because you're not gonna clean.
Well, everything is
Listen,
out there. People need to pay their bills. Like, let's
That's
help them, right? If you try to outsource,
And I don't want to make it sound like we
helping
live
the
in large
economy.
and we
Like we got
balling
money.
and all, but for the sake of
My
my
mental,
marriage
yes.
and my mental
It's
health,
needed.
and it's okay. Your mommy
I'm
didn't do
fine.
it. Okay, I'm not my mom. You
I'm
know,
not.
Oh,
my mom
please,
broke
Bessie.
her back.
Thank
Like,
you.
yeah. And my husband and I, we go by this motto: find the formula that works for you.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever works in your household, just let it be. Like,
That's right.
if he's the one cooking, okay. I
That
know
works.
women, we're supposed to be like the cook.
not me.
Who said that? Right? Like, whatever works for us is what's going to work for us, and we're going to be happy that way.
Everyone wants to keep the traditional domestic roles.
Yeah.
However, they forget that women weren't working. We were home completely. Weren't working to contribute to the family financially.
But pay tax.
We were doing duties within the home, but that was our only job. In this society that we live in now, we need to work a full-time job.
Some of us even got side jobs.
And then we still need to come home and do all those
Yeah.
duties. That's not fair.
unrealistic,
To be honest, it's not
So
fair.
we-
You need to change the roles a little bit. Yes, I still need to submit, but you need to clean some dishes. The way that we really parent and the way that we show up for each other, do need to change. Now, don't get me wrong. If you have a relationship where your husband says, I got it, and you can stay home, then, that's what y'all decided on. Now, because it's not a one-size-fit-all. Now, if y'all decided 50-50, then that works for y'all. Yeah. Or whatever percentage that may be, you know? But you really have to have that discussion before you get married.
My husband, he doesn't cook. Like, he just doesn't know how to cook, and I'm not here to teach you. Like,
I'm not teaching mine either.
I'll send you a YouTube video, and you do it that way, right? But my son, I'm changing the narrative right now. You know, my son probably can cook more than my husband can right now.
Mine too.
And he's babe, mine too. Let's be real, like, cause like he's just like I'm teaching him, but I also wanted to say that it's not necessarily like always what you say, is how you say it. 100%. So like if you know that you need more help from your man, from your husband, you're not gonna be like, bro, like,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? Like, why am I doing all this by myself? Like, you can't, like, that's just, like, that's just nagging. And he just shuts down.
He does.
So it's like, even if you're having just a conversation, like, babe, you know, like, I feel really tired, you know, and I feel like if you could just help out a little bit more in this area, that would really, really make me happy. You know, just choosing your words wisely, because the words that we use can either build them up or tear them down. Okay, and our words are more powerful than they can admit.
100%.
Okay, so like we really have to choose our words wisely.
So, in-laws. Well, a lot of married people are struggling with the in-laws. How do you guys set the boundaries?
Having in-laws can be an issue, but not having in-laws can be a pretty big issue. So you really need to take your blessings where you can get them. It's not greener on the other side, like they say. It's greener where you water it.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to in-laws, you should know what you're getting into before you get married. Now, if you have an in-law that don't like you, you already know that's not going to be much help. And do you really want to be in that marriage? The key part is your spouse needs to be that buffer. If your spouse isn't saying, you know what, mom and dad, I love you, but you cannot disrespect my wife. That boundary is not there, you're going to have issues.
Absolutely. Your husband's responsibility is to pick you. That was his choice. He decided to leave and cleave. And so if that boundary is not established or they're not respecting it, your husband's responsibility is to protect you. Like number one. And unfortunately, sometimes I've seen cases where that means you have to walk away from what is now damaging your new family that you're establishing. It's unfortunate, however, the biblical stance is you have left home and you've picked your wife. That is your family now. Ideally, great to have support of your in-laws as much as possible. However, that's not always the case for everybody.
I think that before you get married, you want to make sure that the relationship that you are in, that in-laws you're in a good space with them. Because when you get married and you're not at a good place with your in-laws, it has a lot of effect on your marriage, whether you want to admit it or not, right? Especially if your person is close to their family.
Correct.
Because the family functions happen and you gotta represent. And if there's that uneasiness, it's so uncomfortable. Like, why would you want to put yourself through that for the rest of your life?
This is me just coming from a different perspective, just having the grace to handle the fact that the relationship isn't what it is, and I have to be okay with that. That's another level of grace. People don't have the grace to be okay with what's not okay. And so until we learn that we don't always have the capability, even with God in the midst of it, to have that kind of peace that we're accustomed to seeing, that there's different kinds of peace where you can be gracious enough to handle it and still be at peace with all men.
I think you need to weigh all the factors, like what is a presenting issue, right? And what is causing this unrest, discord, right? And if everybody is labeling it as a duck, and you see a fish,
right?
It's a duck, sis.
It's a
you know
duck.
what I'm saying? So like sometimes we're so blinded by love and how we're feeling, we ignore these red flags. And it's like, no, don't do that.
And red flags could be in-laws, their families.
You can date wrong, but don't marry wrong. Like, no one wants to have a bad dating experience, but it's better to date wrong and there's no commitment than to marry wrong.
As a Christian.
So as a Christian, especially, right? And so you can't be so blinded by what you're feeling and what your heart is saying, you know, and you're just not seeing what really needs to be seen. Pastor Tony Evans always says, if all you see is what you see, then you're not really seeing all there is to be seen, right? There's more to the picture, and you gotta dig deep, especially when that unrest is there.
Shout out to my in-laws, you guys, the best. I have never had no problem with their in-laws.
I get my
My in-law lived with us.
I get my soap every other week.
Mine lived with us for 11 years.
No issues.
No.
Nothing.
And even if when she
I
do
miss her so
try,
much.
guess
Come
what?
back.
My husband does. My husband said, "Hey, mama, what t-shirt I got?" He knows when it's time. But for the 11 years I got accept.
Beautiful. Thank God.
No regret. I think God gave me.
If you have it, it's great. There's no issue there. There's really nothing to say. But if you do have that issue, then it goes back to the fact that whoever is the child of those parents, they need to regulate. I don't think you should ever have to be in a position where you have to regulate that, because it's just going to become a messy situation. The grace that they would put to their kid, they're not going to give it to you.
That's true.
Okay, unless they are highly saved, and I'm sorry. Even then, let's be real. Okay. That's the truth.
But I love that we're showing. But I love that we're showing both sides.
That's what I was
There's a
gonna
good
say.
one, but then there's the bad.
And that's what I was gonna say. And if you do have that, that's great, and you should express that to your husband and to your in-laws. That's amazing. But if you don't, you need to know what you're getting.
So I know that, especially with my husband's job, like to not have that support of having grandmas around, like it would have made it so much more difficult. So when you do have it, no matter how tight or how not tight it is, like you cherish it. Cherish it.
100%.
How it comes, and those who don't, prayerfully, you do have that support system where you can get that. But ultimately, with the question that you asked in-laws, a boundary has to be established. There needs to be a boundary.
Before indoor marriage.
Because sometimes they could be a little too intrusive.
Right. Lord knows that I don't always get along with my mother-in-law. My husband doesn't always get along with my mother-in-law. But having parties that are willing to come together.
Final advice, one solid final advice that you want to give to those who are engaged, single, married?
You don't want your standards to be so high that even you can't meet them.
Real quick, just to borrow a little bit of what you said, that is so true. When I got married, what I lacked from my father, I expected it from my husband. And it caused trauma in that beginning. Like I said, like, why can't you do this? But because that little girl, Amy, wanted daddy.
Can I tell you one
And I poured on him.
Not to cut you off, that was me, especially coming from a single household.
Yes.
And one day Samuel looked at me and said, "I need you to know
I'm not your dad.
I'm not your
Yeah.
father."
And that was a wake up call I needed from my husband.
Revelation.
He kept saying that
it was rough.
I cannot be both.
Yeah.
I only could be your husband.
Yeah.
And I cannot be your dad. That's not what I was called. But you gotta allow me to be your husband. And I struggled with allow my husband to be my husband because I wanted dad. I didn't have that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So daddy issues is real.
It is. So it's very important.
To be honest, and this is why I say, if these are things you really need in a husband, I'm not saying take them off your list, but just be aware a certain man of that caliber is going to need certain things in his wife. So you need to go ahead.
Can you give what
and
you
go
want
and work on those things? I'm just saying, it's not all on him. You need to work. You need to have your own goals, and that's how you regulate yourself. And if you can't do that, don't expect once you get a husband, you're gonna be able to do it then. All right. Back to Ann.
We don't even need to say anything. Society places this like lavishness on marriage. Like it takes
social media
work.
A lot of work.
It takes a lot of work.
And intentional work.
Intentional work. And so don't go rushing into something just because everybody's doing it.
Or people telling you it's time to do it.
Thank you. Oh yeah, that's another.
Listen,
we're not gonna finish.
We're
Take your time.
Yes.
Take your blood. You can date wrong, and I'm loosely saying it, but you cannot marry wrong. But you better not marry
Don't be
wrong.
loose though.
She gotta go. She gotta go.
They think too much.
Make it clear. Jesus, sing it be loose. Loosely.
Yes. I just got it.
All right, you can. Okay. Don't marry wrong. Period.
No. Let us pray for our sister.
One last thing. Come on, Holy Spirit. Don't be giving your boyfriend husband privileges.
Wait.
you need to propose to no man.
Period.
Don't you get the only reason you get on your knees for after marriage.
No.
After marriage, you can
I'll get this
all
out.
you want.
I'll get this out.
Get on your knees.
I'll get this out.
That's right. After marriage, get on your knees. Get on the tongue. That is right.
First off, thank you ladies for joining me.
Thank you.